Hello, this is your host, Renata Ortega. Welcome to today's episode of the Cycle Breaker and Changemaker podcast. This podcast is all about how to break free from negative generational cycles in order to create meaningful, lasting changes. For helpful tools and answers to your most pressing questions, be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Cycle Breaker Changemaker. I look forward to helping you on your cycle breaking and change-making journey. I promise you will find nothing more rewarding than this. In today's episode, I will be discussing people-pleasing and ignoring your own needs as a trauma response. Do you overcommit to activities or responsibilities that others ask of you? Do you ever find yourself saying yes to everything or struggling to ever say the word no to others? Maybe you often find that you are saying yes to work or personal commitments, despite having too much of a work or personal load already. Maybe you regret saying yes and overcommitting yourself. Or perhaps you look back and realize that you are never taking care of your own needs because you have been so focused on pleasing others. If so, you may be experiencing people-pleasing as a trauma response. So, what exactly is people-pleasing? People-pleasing is when a person constantly strives to please others. A people-pleaser chronically overcommits to activities and responsibilities, and people-pleasers have a great deal of trouble setting boundaries. People-pleasing can be a trauma response. Sadly, this is a response that's motivated by fear. So, why does people-pleasing happen in relationships? And how does it contribute to a negative cycle? When you are exposed to punishment, rejection, or even completely ignored as a child because you are not pleasing your caregivers, you may become a people-pleaser as an adult. Or, if you experience complex trauma, which means continuous traumatic experiences or repeated traumatic experiences, you may become a people-pleaser. The reason for this is survival. People-pleasers are motivated by the basic human need for safety and acceptance. A people-pleaser automatically assumes that in order to avoid punishment or abandonment, they must please another person. People-pleasing also allows them to feel seen, recognized, and heard. People-pleasing out of fear can look like constantly putting others' needs and feelings above your own. People-pleasing can also look like gift-giving in excess, as if you need to buy and earn another person's respect and validation. People-pleasers avoid conflict at all costs, and this comes at a very high price of not being able to respect or enforce their own boundaries. Here's my story and how people-pleasing has impacted me as an adult. Due to growing up in a house of abuse and being exposed to constant fits of rage, as well as experiencing a critical illness, I became a people-pleaser as a child, and this continued into young adulthood. When I was asked to commit to social, family, or work commitments, I would say yes before I even knew what I was saying. It was a completely automatic response. It felt great. It felt wonderful. I was busy. I was needed, and I had a purpose. Or so I thought. After saying yes repeatedly, and after committing to anything and everything, I was often left with a day that had 24 hours in it to complete 72 hours worth of commitments. The positive feelings that would come with saying yes were becoming more fleeting and became overcast by feelings of overwhelm, fatigue, and the exhaustive effort of managing priorities. I was literally in an impossible situation. I started to feel these feelings even when saying yes, and eventually saying yes lost its luster completely. I started to ask myself, why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I say yes to everything? Why did I have to say yes to that? I would ask myself these questions, but nothing changed until I realized I was asking myself the wrong questions and in the wrong way. I would have to cancel things which I hated doing. I hated what I thought was letting people down. I would get sick so often from not prioritizing my own health and well-being, which led to more cancellations. I would dread and loathe events and projects I once loved. Often, when I would cancel things, even if I was too ill to go, my abusers would rage at me and make me feel very badly for canceling. If people-pleasing is not resolved and you become a caregiver to a child, it can lead to less present and less sensitive parenting. This results in not providing a safe and secure environment for your children. And so, the cycle repeats. So what have I done to break the cycle of people-pleasing? Step 1, acknowledging. I had to acknowledge that something was wrong. I was not happy, and I was not acting for myself. It was not easy for me to do this because this involved looking at myself in a different way and admitting that something needed to be changed. However, it was worth it. Once I acknowledged that something needed to be changed, I was able to work on steps to correct it. Step 2, making a list. I made a list of what I have committed to, and this allowed me to accomplish many things. It allowed me to see what I have actually committed to versus what was actually possible. When you hold commitments in your head, it becomes hard to visualize what the whole picture looks like. If you are able to, please write this list. Beside the lists of what you have committed to, write a header that says, "Does this help me?" It can help you in terms of your health. It can bring you joy. It can contribute to your overall well-being. Perhaps it contributes to your income or to future income opportunities. And simply write a yes or a no. This will help you see how many commitments, if any, are actually for you. Step 3. This was the hardest and most uncomfortable step. Not saying yes immediately. I had to practice saying, "I need to get back to you. I will check my schedule first." I had to buy myself time. When trying this out, you will likely not be comfortable saying no right away, and I would never suggest you go straight to that. It will feel too scary. For now, focus on sitting with the ask before you say yes. Here is my experience and how implementing the steps I've shared led to a positive outcome. By pausing and saying, "I will get back to you," or "no" to others, I was finally starting to say yes to myself. By learning to get comfortable being uncomfortable with setting up boundaries, I was exercising a completely new but scary muscle. Over time, I saw the benefits. I had time for myself. The first time I had time for myself and did not have to do something for someone else, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was so used to putting everyone else first that I had no idea how to take care of myself. This was one of the hardest parts for me, and I had to keep working at it. I had to do things for myself to reduce the anxiety I would experience during me time. Over time, the results have been remarkable. I am now able to be present. I am able to prioritize my health and well-being. This makes me feel whole because it is coming from me and not from an outward source. I am able to say yes to myself first. By taking small steps each day, I promise you will be able to get here too. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cycle Breaker and Changemaker. I would love to hear from you and to receive your feedback. Remember, you can reach me on Instagram or Facebook at Cycle Breaker Changemaker. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts in order to help me continue to help you. I am looking forward to having you join me for the next episode. Until then, please take care.